I have like old notes that I'm just gonna kind of glaze over while I'm here. Because I did a video on fat-soluble vitamins before, but I didn't include vitamin D. So I know I have a bunch of notes here that, would you believe that I made a video and then I deleted it because, anyway, because I wasn't sure. But let's talk about it a little bit since we're here. It's Friday. All right, so okay. So fat-soluble vitamins and vitamin D. And how much fat do you need to optimize your hormonal production? These are just my notes that I took from a long time ago. But anyway, humans are not designed for large quantities of fat. 20 to 25 grams a day is plenty for hormone synthesis, cellular function, and fat-soluble vitamin absorption. You can do the research yourself. You can stay here and listen to me. Okinawans, a lot of other things that I can't quite read because of my writing. But these civilizations that were mostly vegan for the most part, but had low dietary fat in their diet, they were low fat, high carbs, had no obesity, hypertension, atherosclerosis, kidney disease, autoimmune disease, or metabolic syndromes. These diseases do not exist in high carb cultures. They had no oil or limited oil and basically very limited animal products and salt, high fiber, high potassium, fruit, veggies, and starch. Coconut oil is a lipid carrier. So vitamin D activation, utilization, and storage. So it's synthesized when UVB light hits the skin. Once formed, vitamin D is fat soluble. So it enters the bloodstream through the skin and it dissolves into the lipids present in the oils in the skin. So lean and low fat individuals indicates a low sebum production. Therefore, the skin and the natural oil layer is thinner. MCTs in coconut oil makes it more bioavailable and easily penetrates the skin. So this is like application of coconut oil on the skin. And you will absorb some of this. The birds are going crazy outside. And you will absorb some of this without actually eating it or putting it on your food. So if you're looking to up your vitamin D absorption through layering on coconut oil on the skin, this is fine if you are a lean and active individual already. If you are overweight, if you are struggling with your hormones and basically you're struggling to lose weight because your hormones are not in check, this advice is for you when you get to that lean part, which I don't know how long it's going to take. I still get lots of questions and comments about people saying like this high carb thing doesn't work and you know the DR protocol and Harley's wrong and everything's wrong, but I really just don't understand how it can be wrong when I am living it. I'm living with someone who's living it. There's plenty of people that stick to it and it continues to improve their life. So I just really don't think people really take it seriously in a sense, or they do it 5 days a week and then they skip the other 2 days thinking that the other 2 days don't matter. So getting to bed by 8, 9 o'clock is probably just as important as your diet, especially if you want to get your hormones in check. We are made in the sun. We are sun-loving beings. So I would just encourage you to really take yourself seriously when you look in the mirror and do it. Hey, how's it going? So I would really just take yourself seriously and take what you want from what I'm saying and other research that you're doing and other YouTube channels. But for the most part, like you have to look at yourself in the mirror and really say like, am I doing this or am I not doing this? And does protein matter and all of this stuff? Like I am on a very low protein diet. I don't count my protein. I just make sure that I limit my fat and I have as many carbohydrates as I need throughout the day. And I'm good to go. And I did rebound, guys. I did rebound. If you want to go back to my videos when I first started my channel, you will see that I don't look this lean in the face. and it's summertime and I'm outside, and I had quit salt like for a good month in the summer, and I had still retained water and still held on to weight because my metabolism was still catching up. So if you have any questions, of course, like, I don't know how many people are here, but hey guys, thanks for coming. Yeah, I was starting to talk about vitamin D and how it's the best way to get vitamin D is obviously when it's sunny out. And I don't take any vitamin D right now. You can obviously see I'm like a little bit pale, but here it's been raining for, I don't know, 6 days straight. It sucks. But it is what it is. But I do get outside still every day, even if it's just walking to the grocery store. But once you're lean and active, you will be able to absorb vitamin D, and you'll be able to get that golden glow a lot easier in the summertime, and especially if you lather yourself in coconut oil. But take the sun seriously, and where I am right now in Portugal, if you're in the sun from 11 o'clock till 3 o'clock, you better be well hydrated, and you better be going in the ocean to cool off a bit, and you better be taking some breaks under an umbrella sometimes. Like, I come from a Mediterranean family and background, so like I should be able to take the sun very well. And when I first came here a couple years ago, it was so easy to get super tan, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm gonna go through a little bit of comments here. How much carbs per day? As many as I need, but I would say Durian Rider says that he has 600 grams of carbs minimum as a 5'10" active male. So it's, for me, I'm always putting 100 grams of pure white sugar in a 1 liter of orange juice. So I don't know, that takes me to probably 150 grams of carbs just for breakfast, and I'm having water before that. And I now think I'm gonna start sipping my juice a little bit slower because I have been chugging it, and then I'm noticing that I'm going pee pretty quickly, like right after that. And a lot of people are interested in how many times I go pee during the day, and it really depends on how much I'm drinking. And I try to stay as hydrated as possible. I try to get 3-4 liters of water in. It's harder in the winter time, and this whole like Chinese medicine thing is coming up on my feet a lot, and I'm finding that, like, yeah, I shouldn't be putting like super cold liquid into my body. So I understand if you guys don't want the banana smoothies and you don't want like the frozen smoothies. I get that, because it really is counterintuitive, especially if you want your digestion to be smooth and you don't want to stiffen and constrict your colon. You would rather relax. So that's why I'm having teas sometimes. I'm having like peppermint tea, or I'm basically just having hot water, pouring some kind of like iced tea or juice into it, and as much sugar as I want. And then today for lunch, I had potatoes, I had rice, I had corn, I had lettuce, and that's it. And I'm probably gonna drink some liquids while I'm here on the live with you guys. So I hope that answers your question. What? Is that enough for bile production? Yes. Yes, it is. 10 to 20 grams a day. Okay, let's just say 20 grams, because everyone's afraid of being low fat. And I don't think you guys realize how much fat is in foods that you don't even count. So if you're in the States, or you're in Canada, or you're anywhere in the world, where I am in Portugal right now, it is so easy to track what's going on because everything is measured in 100 grams. It doesn't matter if it's soy sauce, it doesn't matter if it's rice, it doesn't matter if it's potatoes. The nutrition facts give you a 100-gram count so you can see. So for example, when I was in Canada, you could see things that were like, they said 0 fat. Or I would see things on the sugar diet people where they would say, oh, this says it has 0 fat. And it's like, it's giving you a 10-gram or 15-gram tablespoon measurement. And this is a trick. This is not real, because if you extended it to 100 grams and really did the proper ratio, you would see that there is fat in that. Our gallbladder, when you do a high-fat diet, the gallbladder is totally burdened with having to push out so much bile to keep up, that a low-fat diet will always keep you in check, and it's that steady, slow flow of fat. It's not this giant increase and then decrease. So 20 grams of fat, from the research I have on this fat-soluble vitamins, is plenty for hormone synthesis, and this is good for your gallbladder as well. So just for example, what I've got here. Bile production is a graded response. So higher fat, higher contractions is more stress on your body, like I was just saying. 90% of gallstones are cholesterol, and it obstructs the cystic duct, which is where the bile is introduced into the small intestine. So the more fat you have in the diet, the more problems that you are going to incur in the bile production, and the stress of putting too much bile into the body at once. So when fat intake is low optimal, the gallbladder empties regularly and not excessively, therefore preventing any thickening and stone formation. Bile is recycled efficiently through circulation. The liver is not overburdened with cholesterol-rich bile production. Yeah, this is how men and women are designed to eat. Gallbladder removal, you do that, and then you have to take medication twice a day for the rest of your life. Now, I know from way back when I was trying to be raw vegan and fruitarian, I remember somebody in the community, which was like whatever, a few hundred people, he had his gallbladder removed. Now, why did that happen? Because he wasn't eating enough, and he was trying to be strict fruitarian, and he wasn't eating enough. So there is fat in fruit, right? And the guy could have just had an avocado. Like, he could have just had something. He could have had a durian. He could have had an olive. He could have had something. But he was listening to this fasting regime person, and he was going against his instincts, and he was living in South America, so he could have had an avocado right there, no problem, but he was restricting, and that led to him getting his gallbladder removed. So it's like, if you don't eat enough and there's a problem with you not getting enough fat, that's a problem. But I think most gallbladder removals, like my cousin has his gallbladder removed, and he is not eating a vegan, vegetarian diet. He is eating a Croatian, like a very meat and potatoes type diet, and he wasn't a big drinker. And yeah, so for the rest of his life, he's going to have to take medication twice a day before his meals, I think. So we are very programmed, especially in this influencer, tons of content, so much to absorb in this YouTube realm, that like, especially when you're like not sure, you're kind of on the fence, like I don't know if the raw vegan, or I don't know if the high carb, low fat, plant-based lifestyle is going to work for me. I keep watching these carnivore channels, and I keep seeing different things on keto, and these are all temporary solutions, and these will have an effect on your physiology, and they will have an effect on your hormones. And people come in the comments and they say, I'm 7 years carnivore, and I eat meat, and I eat eggs, and I eat dairy, and everything's fine. And then it's like, okay, show us your blood tests, do an oral glucose tolerance test, tell me about your athletic performance. And it's always like, they have nothing to say. And they say, actually, one guy answered saying, I don't exercise. It's like, well, that's all I need to know. Like, that's all I need to know. I'm kind of scrolling through. What do you think about Ted Carr's muscle? You know what? I don't follow Ted Carr, but something interesting. He has muscle gain. Creatine. You know what? He might be on the Sazul. I think there's a little bit of that. There's a lot of people that are just taking a little bit of PEDs, and it's kind of hard to see unless you know what to look for. And it's just like you start to see some deepening of the voice, you start to see a little bit of inflammation, you start to see a little bit of redness, the traps get bigger, there might be some acne, but that's only like in like very extreme cases where guys are taking like Tren and D-ball and all kinds of other stuff that I don't even know the name of. But I haven't been tracking Ted Carr religiously, so he's thinking about taking creatine. I used to take creatine and then I stopped. Right now I'm not taking any supplements, guys. When I got my blood test done, the doctor was like, oh, you need to take B12, like you're a vegetarian, you're a vegan, oh my gosh. You know, because that's his regular rhetoric. That's what he has to say because he's a doctor. And I don't take it. So I was taking a little bit of B12 because I was like, okay, doctor said. And then I just eventually forgot about it. And something that I have recently come across is that like most of these vitamins, like, how do we even know that it's doing what it's doing? I suffer from 0% of the B12 symptoms. Like, I don't have low energy. Like, no caffeine here, okay? Like, I don't have yellowing skin. It's just like there's a lot of like dizziness and laziness and fatigue and lethargy. Like, I'm not suffering from these low B12 problems. So That's where I'm at with that. Yeah, zero sun in the UK. Yeah, vitamin D. Like, you know what? You better stock up when it gets warm out. Like, I'm planning on kind of zipping off somewhere that's a little bit warmer to get that vitamin D and fresh fruit soon. But yeah, in Portugal right now, like it's been raining for 7 days straight and it sucks. I'm gonna have to agree with you. Like, I'm not looking pale. I'm not looking as bronze as I would like to be. If you want to supplement with your vitamin D, like I'm not going to tell you not to, but for me, it's just something that I'm going to continue to not do. Like I did take the creatine, stopped. I didn't find that there was a huge difference. I kind of felt like I was just retaining more water. But vitamin D is a little bit different than that. So when it comes to summertime here, like I'm planning on blasting myself and being outside in the sun, especially in the morning, getting that morning sun. I'm gonna get out on the balcony, or I'm gonna go to the beach with all the locals and be there right at 7 o'clock at the wall and getting my skin all bronzed up. Creatine is good for muscle gain. Use dextrose. Yeah, I would say use dextrose. I've never had these, like this is expensive stuff too. I went to the health store to get some soap or whatever, and it's like seeing how much these things cost, I was like, if might as well just have sugar. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Hey, thank you, appreciate that. I just didn't do much today, but I normally hydrate with OJ, milk, bone broth, cane, sugar, Coke, and other fruit juice, sometimes mineral water. All right, if that works for you, that works for you. Like, of course, I'm not gonna say like great with the milk and the bone broth. It kind of sounds like a Ray Peat type thing, which is cool. Like, there's a guy on Instagram called like Cows Eat Grass or something, and he's very Ray Peat, and he talks about how caffeine is great, and he talks about how, yeah, having a Coca-Cola is great. And then there's many stories and comments that are very interesting that say like, like in Nigeria, when somebody's sick, we just give them a lot of Coca-Cola and they're fine. So there's something to that, and in the sense of people going from just like standard American garbage or whatever, or just eating everything in abundance, having too much fried and processed foods or whatever it is, and then they kind of restrict from that seed oils and blah, 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 and then they kind of stick to just having coffee, milk, and Coke and orange juice and stuff. Like, that's cool. For me, it's a transition. Like, I also used like milk and feta when I first started on this diet, but now it's just like I don't see the reason. Like, milk is basically sugar water with protein in it. So yeah, and the bone broth, like I don't know, I'm not about to do that. It's just it's not my thing. Weather is heavenly. I believe you. There's no sound. Really? Can you guys hear me? Just joined. Sound is good to me. Okay, give me some like hearts or something if the sound is working. I have 34 people watching, so it must be working. I'm not Portuguese. I'm born and raised in Canada, but my mother was born in Croatia, and my father's family is from like Austria, Germany. So okay, it sounds like you guys can hear me. Hello, hello. Yeah, so like very like Yugoslavian or Mediterranean type roots. My great grandmother spoke like Hungarian and things like this. So this is the kind of food and mentality, I guess, I grew up with. Very little sun at the moment, yeah. What do you think of 10 grams of fat a day? Get fit with Natasha always says that. Yeah, so if you're, I believe the person that's asking this, you are trying to get to like an 18 BMI, which is like very thin in my opinion. And I'm just gonna say, be careful with that. It's very easy to kind of get wrapped up in being a certain BMI or a certain weight or looking a certain way. As a woman, if you've watched my why I failed as a fruitarian, why I failed as a raw vegan, you see in the videos how frail and terrible I look. In the sense of like, you can see all the ribs, you can see all the hip bones. I have zero glute muscles, zero leg muscles. So if you are healthy, you are eating enough, you are sleeping enough, if you really want to lean out, I would say like make your meals simpler, or perhaps like cut out salt, but please eat enough and take care of yourself. That's the biggest thing, because like it's easy to starve yourself into weight loss. It's so easy to lose weight, and when you do it in a cutting corners kind of way, and you're just bound to rebound. So eat yourself, or eat your way there. And yes, like Get Fit with Natasha and Durian, they very much promote, like if you want to just really come down to the weight you want to be, which I think you're pretty close. Like, so I think longevity of like keeping the diet consistent is more important than just like minimizing the fat to like less than 10 grams a day, in my opinion. Sound is fine. Okay. Yes. Cool to catch you live. My gallbladder was removed. Gallstones. Yeah. It's, okay. Yeah. Yeah, 2,500 calories. Yeah, just make sure you're eating enough, and make sure you feel good. If you start to feel like woozy and fatigued and like you could pass out, like gotta eat more. Gotta eat more. And the exercise thing, I don't know. Like I would definitely advocate for some kind of like walking or rebounding on a trampoline, or doing some sort of like air squats, just picking up a couple 1 kilo weights just to like move around and stretch, just to get the lymphatic system moving, because the lymphatic system is what generates that heat for you to be able to exhale the fat. So that's exercise is important in fat loss, because it really invigorates the lymphatic system. Yeah, and okay, so I was watching some John Rose today. DR did go for Doug Graham's 80-10-10, but if you kind of go back in time, you can see that Durian Ryder does kind of, him and Doug Graham had a little breakup, like there was a whole drama with the Thai Fruit Festival and all this stuff. And because Doug Graham is very raw as law, so when Durian was like, you know what, guys, if you want performance and you want to feel good, add that starch in, baby. And he was like, no, you can't do that. So the 80-10-10 thing, I think he promoted that years ago, but now he will never mention it. And 80-10-10 is a slippery slope, in the sense that you can have like 40 grams of fat on 80-10-10, if you catch my drift, right? So if you're looking for weight loss strictly, you got to make sure you're sleeping well. You got to get your hormones in check, which will be aided by exercise and proper sleep and hydration, and of course the carbs, right? But yeah, back to like the John Rose thing. I was watching John Rose videos today, and like, I like the guy a lot. He's kind of like disappeared. He hasn't posted a video in a year. But he was a huge influence on me when I started with this raw vegan, fruitarian kind of fasting community. And it was like, the serpent is within the man. And, like the Beelzebub. And this is the fucking problem, is we've got this obsession with food. And I really like John Rose, but I just think he kind of got to somewhere and then he stopped growing. So I hope I never do that, right? Like, I hope that I can continue to grow and evolve as things progress in my life, because what serves me right now probably will not serve me in 5 years, if that makes any sense. It's always going to be the basics of like carbs and hydration and sleep and exercise. Those are like, sunshine, sports, competition, gratefulness. All of those things are going to keep me in line to like having a happy type life, right? But I just think that he's sort of plateaued, and his most recent videos, you can kind of see that he's had too much fat. He has those veins on his head and here in his shoulders. Guy is like ripped, okay? He's still very thin because he fasts and because he does juice feasts and things like this. But you can see that he kind of has too much fat running through his veins. And that's like the Mark Bell look, like that's like that bodybuilder look where the men get these thick veins, and you see that it is not healthy. So I love John Rose and I like his attitude. And if you look at a video of him 10 years ago and you look at a video of him from last year, you can see that he's not as quick. And of course, like, he's 70 years old now. I'm not going to knock the guy. Like, he looks better than a lot of 70-year-olds. The guys that I play on the beach with are in their 70s, and some of them are close to 80. And like, they don't eat a high carb, low fat. They don't eat a raw vegan diet, but they keep up. So it's like there's something about there's some people pick up on some things and some people let things go, and there's got to be like a balance in between everything. So nausea, dizziness, any other side effects when you introduce sugar to your diet, I think that could be due to insulin resistance. Yeah, so another thing that I did was I fasted so much that I think I killed whatever was in my gut microbiome. So, and I was juicing without any sugar for quite some time. So I know what you guys are talking about when you say that you have a lot of sugar and then you just feel this like, ugh, what just happened? Like, there's a lot of people that complain about this. So I think you've really got to build up your gut microbiome, and that's going to be through starches. So maybe just have the fruits, maybe just have the applesauces, maybe just have like the dried fruit or the fruit cup type things that are in cans. Like, if the sugar bothers you right now, you're going to build up to it. I have no problem with it now, but this is so, I'm going to be coming up to 3 years eating this way, right? And yeah, the fat has to go through the bloodstream. So you're going through like eliminations, like, and it can be unpleasant at times. I experienced a lot of this in the beginning when I was trying to be raw vegan and fruitarian. I would have these healing crises, what we would call them in the community, and you're having these eliminations where, because the fat has to go into the bloodstream and then you have to exhale it through the lungs. So when that's all tracing through, it can be uncomfortable, and especially if you're kind of like stagnant and you're not doing a whole lot, or you've got to be at work, or you've got other responsibilities and you can't really focus on just the diet and resting or things like this. Yes, it definitely could. And the insulin resistance to the insulin sensitivity, like I think I should do an oral glucose tolerance test coming up. I mean, I have the thing over there in the room just because it's very interesting, and I do have a video on this, but it was months ago in the summer, and just as like an update for everybody, it's something that I've been thinking about doing. I just don't really feel like pricking my finger, but it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, you kind of gotta go through it, and I do encourage sugar a lot. I do talk about sugar all the time, but for me, sugar is like the same thing as a carbohydrate, because when it gets to your body and you start to assimilate it, it all becomes sugar anyway. So that's why the gluconeogenesis and all of this stuff is just like extra steps. It's just for no reason at all. But yeah, I don't know. You just kind of have to go through it. It takes time. Everything worth doing takes time. The first time you shoot an arrow, you're pretty terrible at it. So the good old sun crystals, yeah. Can you do a day in the life and exercise and meal? Yeah, people have been asking about what I eat in a day coming up, so I was gonna film that coming up in the next couple days. No, the dry skin. Do I ever get dry skin? I used to do lots of creams. I used to do under eye cream, and I used to do serums, and I used to do this cream and day cream and blah, blah, blah. I don't do any of that anymore. You must be hydrated. So there are studies, you can look this up yourself. You are lacking vitamin C. People will get a vitamin C shot and like have wrinkles leave their face. So it's hydration through proper water. Hopefully you guys can get some kind of like low TDS mineral, like lowest amount of mineral content water. I prefer distilled water. Can't really find it here, but we do our best. Of course, you should be drinking water. Doesn't matter like where you are. So if you can only find a certain water, have that, or RO water, reverse osmosis water. So I think the hydration, you need to, it's not like you drink water one day and then you're hydrated. The hydration is over time, just like the sleep is over time, and just like the weight loss is over time. So if you want to supplement, I would do with coconut oil, like just if you have like dry skin, or this doesn't feel great, it's uncomfortable. But I used to get cracked lips and things like this, and I used to do the chapstick, and I had a lot of friends that have issues like this, and they have like rosacea. So all these skin problems are a result of the kidneys not being able to excrete what's going on. So lower your salt, up your vitamin C, and hydrate. I'm also doing life with no gallbladder. Low fat diet is kind of necessary as a result. Yes. Sugar is 2 to get enough calories. Absolutely, yeah. So like, it's hard to eat a lot of starch. And almost every time I finish a starch meal, I want something sweet anyway. I want to like cut up a little apple or something after dinner, which is perfectly fine, right? Or have a little, like I don't have these like frozen mango pops or strawberry pops because it's cold, but in the summertime I would. Sorry, this is annoying me. And do I eat nuts? Not regularly. When I first started this diet, I was having peanuts a lot, but that was because I needed to gain weight because I was so thin and frail. And every once in a while, yeah, I will have peanuts, and I've had some Brazil nuts, but don't have too many. You just have like one a day. And I do that sporadically, but it's not something that's like regular in my diet. I had peanuts because it was like, okay, it was like Christmas time or whatever. Thanks for the explanation. Straight. It's a learning experience, yeah. Yes, Doug Graham does recommend a lot of salad. Yes, so does Mike Arnstein. Yes, and he's friends with Durian Ryder. So all of these guys know each other. So it's just the raw vegan lifestyle. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think a lot of people that are raw are a bit I don't know, like they really push it that like there's just no other way to be healthy and there's just no other way. And it's like, come on, guys, like, you know, there's fire and cooking was the worst thing that ever happened to us. And it's like, where are you? Like, where do you live that everything is perfect? Where are you living, guys, where you have just endless amounts of money to spend on all the perfect fruits and everything's organic and I'm perfect? Like, I don't know. I might have like some like PTSD from being in that like raw vegan fruitarian community where I just roll my eyes at it now. But I love fresh fruit. Like I bought a mango today from the grocery store and I ate it and I sucked on that thing like it was like, oh, this is so delicious. But I needed 12 of them to feel full. So what did I do? I had orange juice with sugar. And someone's gonna think, oh no, you can't do that. Well, I did it and I feel great. So I think, yeah, and same with John Rose. He loves his big salads, but he puts 2 avocados in his salads. And that's why, you know, mango, rest in peace. Like, that's why, guys. It's too much fat in the diet. And it's like, I think that a lot of carnivores are ex-vegans and they just go from like one extreme to the other, where I went, you know what? I still have a feeling that like vegan is the way, vegetarian is the way, but I can't just go from one to the other, one extreme to the other. And I tried and I did all the fasting and I did all that stuff and it ruined my metabolism and it ruined my mind. Like it ruined my lust for life. It made me feel like everything was crashing down and the government and the conspiracies and everything's, it's like I just gave my control away to the whole world instead of being like, wow, you know, I am made in God's likeness and he gave me starch. I'm gonna eat it. Oh my goodness, I have a little fire on the stove. I'm gonna use it. So all the power to you if you want to try and be raw vegan and fruitarian, but I am transitioning and I think I am doing it the right way for me in my life and for me to be happy and for me to be thriving and for me to compete and be healthy. And like my blood tests were good. I'm going to do another oral glucose tolerance test, like I said, to show everybody that it's just like, you know, those things matter to me, the sport and being able to like not rely on anything else but the food to nourish me. And people say like, oh, sugar is processed and all this stuff. Like it's literally the dilution of the fruit. It's from the beets, it's from the sugar cane. So yeah, huge salads, like cool. Coconut oil is full of saturated fat though. Yeah, I'm talking about rubbing it on your body. I don't eat coconut oil. That's the only way that I have coconut oil, but it does get absorbed through the skin. But it's like, if you're gonna go out in the sun, pending that you know what you're doing and how to handle the sun, yes, it's good for vitamin D absorption. If you feel like your skin is dry, okay, fine, use some coconut oil, but and people use it in their hair and stuff like this. So like that, if it works for you now, it works for you now. It might not work for you forever. So we have to be willing to use things as they serve you and then let them go when they don't. And I think life is one big transition, I guess, from one age to the next. Like my hormones are going to change like at some point, right? I'm overweight and follow you, Carb King's instructions. I've noticed improvements in my running workouts already. Perfect. And skin on the face. Yes, like I feel like my skin is glowing. I used to try so hard to achieve some sort of look, and when I was in the jewelry business or whatever, my business partner would always kind of harp on me to wear makeup and do this stuff and be more professional, which was never me. I was always a tomboy and this kind of thing, and played a lot of sports, and I was very just throw a bun up on my head. And my mom would be on me to go get my eyebrows threaded and do all this stuff. And she even like waxed my arms when I was young, you know, like, so I had all these people telling me you've got to do this stuff. And now I just let it all go and I feel so much better. And I don't do anything. I just shower and I use like a bar of soap that has some tea tree oil in it, and it works for me. I also love Dr. Bronner's soap, but you have to dilute that. I feel dizzy after a big meal though. Getting hungry after a big meal within hours. Yes, I do too. I get hungry. If I have like a starch lunch, I will probably eat a starch dinner and then finish it off with something sweet in the evening. So the amount of rice that you need to have in comparison to orange juice is quite a bit. So yeah, the dizziness, I can't really relate to feeling dizzy after. So I don't know what kind of composition, what kind of diet you were eating before. So this might be just like an adjustment period. I would encourage you to keep going and like track how your symptoms go. Are you hydrated enough? And like, are you overly stressed? Are you getting enough sleep? These things are important too. 1 Brazil nut a day for the thyroid. Yeah, like I just, you know, I saw it, I felt, oh, I might as well get this, but like, am I going to do this for the rest of my life and have a Brazil nut every day? Probably not, but I have things like seasonally. I do believe that there's things that benefit you, and then when the season changes, it's like you can have it through other foods. I eat sugar and honey straight on my rice. Yes, pasta 3-4 times a day. It's lovely and it keeps me energy for running. Good for you. I'm happy that you found a way to do it. And that's like relatively cheap. You can do this. See, if you're trying to be a raw vegan, goodbye to the money. Like, it's so hard. And I was in Canada, like, the groceries in Canada now, I'm seeing things on Facebook and stuff. It's atrocious what's happening to the Canadian economy. That's like a whole other conversation. But yeah, you can do this on a few dollars a day. And if you feel inspired, go watch Dorian Ryder's videos of like vegan on $2 a day. You can do this with white bread, white sugar, pasta, and rice. Okay, is it missing some vitamins and minerals? Like, all right, maybe, you know, like add some spinach on it once in a while, or put some green onions, or eat some celery once in a while. Like, use your discernment. Like, you know, we are all very intelligent beings here, like, right? We are all very, we are all made in God's likeness. So it's just, please, like, use your discernment. I'm giving you advice from my experience, my opinions, and like what I've learned from watching other people, from watching myself and what I've gone through. But like, I feel so good. I'm going to be 36 in July. And really the only thing that tells you that I am the age that I am is because I have gray hair, you know, and that's what everybody always comes at me in the comments is, oh, are you turning 50? It's like, like, you know, if I did what every other woman did, you know, and lied and like basically used glamour to fake things, you know, everybody would have a different tune in the comments. So yeah. It's the same for me. A lot of fats don't work for me. Yeah, and now I feel it. Like I had a whole avocado the other day because I felt like it was a craving and I needed it. And I think I mentioned this in the other video that I put out a couple days ago, and it's like, it was just meh. It wasn't that good. Your sentimental like personality or how you remember eating before, it draws you towards this fat, right? Where it's really just you need enough calories, and you can get that through eating cleaner carbohydrates. I ask myself the same thing with these raw food people. Some of them have lives with kids. Thank you. But yeah, it's just practical. I think the practical approach is so much more relatable and it's so much more doable. Like, once I kind of took off the hat of trying to be a perfect raw vegan fruitarian. It just opened up the doors. And yeah, like the cooked food, you know, it serves me well. It serves the people who are cycling really well. It serves a lot of endurance athletes well. It serves a lot of people well. Do I have cooked food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner? No, I prefer to be more hydrated and fruity and juicy throughout the day. But in the winter months, I think I have more starch. It's just more comforting. It's warmer because the smoothies can be cold and the things can be cold. And it's like, you know, you don't want to be cold, right? But the carbs always warm me up. And as soon as I have that starchy, soupy, or whatever rice, potato kind of meal, it's like, wow, now I'm back to life. I was trying raw last summer. 40 mandarins, 3 kilos of grapes, 20 bananas as mono meals. Yes, yes, yes. And not to be hungry. And I was running out of energy and still losing weight. Yes, yes. Peter Rogers mentioned that oats have surprisingly high acid load, similar to animal products. That was interesting. I didn't know that he said that. And I don't have a ton of oats in my life because they are a bit fattier, but it's still better in my mind to have oats than to have, you know, a steak. Coconut oil, just buy organic wherever you are. It's probably the best option. It might be a little bit more expensive, but it's better. I eat a whole avocado every day. Great. It is going to take you over the 20 grams of fat mark though. It's very cheap way to live. Just have some fruit, veg, legumes, and then the diet is perfect. Yes, we're created to live with energy, zeal, and carbs. I see you later. Yeah, I'm probably I'll maybe do another maybe 15 or 20 minutes. I've added sugar, juice, and rice and pasta, no meat, very little oil, but I'm gaining weight. I'm 5'11", and I went from 195 to 208. I feel okay, my mood and energy, but I'm bummed about how I'm starting to look. Yeah, this is a common thing. I'm going to ask you what you ate before. Did you eat low carb? Did you restrict your calories? I rebounded up to 180 pounds, okay? And now I'm at 145. And I could have stopped and got scared. But this is your metabolism catching up, and this is protective for your organs to actually grow to the proper size that they are, because they were probably dehydrated for quite some time, and you're probably getting just some more glycogen, and you might be retaining more water depending on how much salt that you're having. So you say that you feel better, you say that your energy is better. These are good signs, and I would bet that your sleep is better as well, because most of the comments that I read from reading people that went from on like metabolism podcasts and things like this is people that went from keto, carnivore, restriction, and fasting and 1 meal a day, is that as soon as they started adding carbs, they just felt an immense relief and lust for life again. So, I mean, I'm going to encourage you to keep going. I don't know how long you've been eating like this, but it seems like not too long. So please continue. And I would say cut the oil if you can completely. That's going to definitely help, because Dr. Rogers says not one drop, you know, not one drop of oil, and Dr. McDougall would say the same thing, and Dr. Esselstyn would say the same thing. So I'm just gonna say keep going, just cut the oil, and you might just be holding on to a bit of water. I don't know how much fruit you're having. You're having some juice, it sounds like, rice and pasta. Yeah, keep going. Dr. Kempner got people from giantly obese to very lean and healthy, kidneys recovered, all of the disease gone, by monitoring these people and making sure that they're having water, fruit, juice, and rice. And he had them on no salt and no oil. The fat you eat is the fat you wear. Yes, and I will agree with that. It would be very, especially if you're eating high carb, if you add fat, you are absolutely going to gain weight. It is just not present in nature. It's not easy. You will not find anything that is high fat and high sugar at the same time. As far as I know, for Dr. McDougall, okay, so this is the thing. You can know what the secret is. You can have all of the right information, But if you don't apply it in your life, then it's not going to work, okay? I believe that he had a stroke when he was very young, and he should have died way earlier than when he did when he was 77. I think he died at 77. And Dr. McDougall did admit to eating outside the starch solution, outside of his own recommended diet, which helped and healed people. He would have cakes and cookies and I think some meats on the holidays and things like this. So he cheated on his own diet. So Dr. Kempner was the same way. He had the secret. He healed people, like hundreds of people, right? But he died and he was a little bit heavier. I mean, why did the Atkins diet guy die from like a heart attack basically? He was low carb and he said he was saving all these people and he ended up dying from his own thing that he claimed he was healing. So it's interesting, you know, knowledge is not enough. Application is absolutely just as important. So that's my spiel on that. I have some oat milk, which is a little bit of oil. I know it's so hard to find a milk that doesn't have oil in it. It sucks. It's just I don't know. It's just something that I keep hearing all the time. Just not one drop, no oil. So it's like it's something that I just want to keep in my mind and I want to avoid as best as I can. But I know that yes, oat milk, I've seen the ingredients and I look at it at the store and then I put it down because I'm like, it's not worth it for me. But I know, like Freely and Durian back in the day in their videos, they were having like soy milk. So maybe this is a better option in trying to find some that has no oil in it. I know there's also like almond milk that's pretty popular, but like literally I can't speak to grabbing it because I don't have it. And they would put some of this into their smoothies, especially Freely. She would always add like some kind of vanilla or you know some spirulina or something like different, where durian was just bananas and sugar and water. I'm just reading, guys. So I'm overweight, still afraid I have insulin resistance and insulin doing havoc on my body eating this much carbs. Please do the research. I can only give you the tools and you have to apply them in your life. Like, I understand that you are afraid because you have been told that carbs are the reason why you have insulin resistance. Look up Harold Hemsworth from 1920. He discovered and wrote papers that it is absolutely the fat in your diet that is causing insulin resistance. Once you remove the fat from your diet and you get it down to a normal level, which would be the 20 grams, the 10 gram mark, which there is fat in rice, there is fat in potatoes, there is fat in fruit that people do not count. They just count the sauces or they just count the other things. There is fat in everything that we have, you know? There's no nutrition facts on an orange, right? But like there is a small amount of fat in there, and there's fat in the potatoes, in the bananas and things like this. So don't neglect to understand how much fat you're actually having if you're having all of these foods. And I'm not trying to scare you. It's just do not have the added fats. You don't need the cheeses. You don't need the oils. You don't need the olives, you don't need the avocados. These are going to contribute to you continuing to have insulin resistance. So have your clean carbohydrates. It's plain, it's boring, it doesn't taste amazing, it doesn't ignite this gluttonous feeling that we all felt our whole life because it's just been given to us by the people that we love as we grew up, and it's been given to us by the friends that we have. It's at all the family functions, it's at all the work parties, it's just everywhere. The temptation to have the fat combined with carbs is everywhere. Sugar gets blamed for what fat does. Sugar feeds all of your cells. Sugar is the necessary part. The carbohydrates are the necessary part of our diet. We don't need to stress and do the gluconeogenesis and everything else. The low carb people are going to tell you that I'm wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about, and they love fasting and they love their one meal a day, but that's just not my type of life. And you will lose the weight if you do these extreme things, but you will never be able to maintain it, and you will not have the energy, you will not have the sleep. Speaking from my experience, so I'm just going to encourage you to keep going. Do not be afraid of the carbs, be afraid of the fat. And really, like, you will have to tighten up what you're doing and be real about what you're putting on your plate. But then after a while, you don't have to count, you don't have to measure, you don't have to think. You just know, yeah, this is enough. There seems to be a strange feeling and reaction from high sugary drinks. Low fat, starch at night. Yet my body retains water, swollen feet, weight gain. How about salt? How much salt are you having with your starches? And people do say that like the sugar makes them feel really cuckoo or like a little bit crazy. I have a couple comments of people saying like the sugar makes me just like blah. It's like, well, go do something, go exercise, go jump around, go for a run, do something, dance. Like I like, you know, I have many spouts during the day where I just feel like I just go do my thing and I just expel this energy. Like it's normal, and this is your lymphatic system moving. What do you know about psoriasis? Yeah, that's a skin thing. I don't know a whole lot. It's really dry skin, right? Again, I'm going to fall back on this being like a kidney issue and you not being able to excrete a lot. I've never personally dealt with it, but am I correct in saying that it's like it comes around the knuckles or like around like the creases of your body as you get really dry skin, right? One brand Naked has no oil. I'm guessing that that's talking about oat milk. Hypoglycemic reaction. So that's the body still adjusting, I would say. The metabolism is still adjusting. And I don't know how long you've been doing this, Sovereign Brother. You can make your own milk by blending oats and water. That's a good option. Oops. I'm from Germany. Yeah, soy milk might be a better option for people that are looking for a milk. I screwed myself up with intermittent fasting and raw vegan. Yes, me too. It's okay. We've all been there in some sense. It's good that we were seeking, but the fasting is just, we're not there yet. We don't live this breatharian life. We are not in the conditions to do this. We have fallen so far, right? As a species, generation after generation. So we make do with what we have, and like, that's why I think, you know, the raw vegan fruitarian community is just kind of, and they all, you know, I was like revisiting some of these Instagram accounts, and it's like, yeah, like they talk about how they have teeth problems, and they talk about how they have to fast still once a week to maintain their weight. And you can see that they're just like, they're just sucked up. They don't have enough glycogen. They don't have enough carbs, even though they're eating their pretty little whatever wraps and raw this and raw that. A sprinkle of salt, sea salt. So the water retention, I would say try to go no salt, because there is enough sodium within the foods that we eat that is in the proper ratio from God's creation, right? So it's not going to taste as yummy, but it's something that you can change. So look at what you're doing and try to pick things out and then see if they make a difference. And you got to do it for at least a few days to even notice. You might need to move a little bit more too to get that lymphatic system moving. It's an autoimmune disease. Yeah, so okay, so gut, skin, yeah, so that's a thyroid problem. That's a thyroid problem, and that is a low carb problem. And that is going to take time to change, because your thyroid doesn't just like heal and recover overnight from decades. I don't know how long people have been low carb or restricting and fasting for. So autoimmune is always a thyroid problem. The vegetable police guy. Yeah, I like him too. I watch his videos. He has like great production value, and he's very dry humor. But I know where he's living right now, and it's like, that's where I was living, in that area. And it's like really flat and dreary, and since I went to Croatia the first time when I was 12, I knew I wanted to leave where I lived in Ontario. So, you know, it took me way longer than it should have to get where I am now, I guess, where I'm traveling and I'm living in Portugal, but I'm also sort of like spending time in Canada. and hopefully going to be going to other places as well. But yeah, I think that Vegetable Police is not having enough calories. He said that he had like a melon for breakfast or lunch, and like the fruit quality in Canada, like come on guys, like it's not good, right? And I know Durian Rider would say, "Oh, you gotta move," but he went to Thailand. And the funny thing is that I'm watching some of his videos of him when Vegetable Police was in Chiang Mai or something like 8 years ago, and he went all the way to Thailand to eat cooked food. Like he wasn't even having the orange juice, or he wasn't even having the pineapples and the mangoes and the sugarcane juice. It's just like silly to me, you know. So and then he said, yeah, and he's went around, right? He went carnivore, and so he's been up and down and changing things, and I wish him all the best, and I find him entertaining, and I like that he uploads and he shares his journey. I think there's a lot of value in that, right? So you can kind of pick and see, like, you know what, man, like, here, like, have some sugar. High carb, low fat for you, or feel great, some rebound weight. It's okay. Yes, it happens. Like, if you've ever restricted, you will, I guarantee that there will be some sort of rebound. And so that's why people are like deterred from this lifestyle, because it's not just like this linear, I start and I lose. It's like, it's going to be a bit of a rebound phase, because most of the people that are coming here have done some sort of calorie restriction, and that screws up the thyroid. So the last blood test that I took in August, ideally you want your thyroid like under a point, but I think mine was like 1.2 or 1.3 or something. So like, I'm still not at like Durian Rider's thyroid numbers or Get Fit with Natasha's thyroid numbers, but Get Fit with Natasha was never fat, okay? And she's, I think, 28. You know, same with Michelle. She's never been fat. So like, these women are like great examples, right? But Freely was fat, okay, and Freely ate the grass-fed beef and all the stuff in Australia. So I know she uses all the same old pictures all the time to sell her courses and stuff, but like she really did look her best, in my opinion, when she was with Durian. Now, her fake tits, I don't agree with, you know, him getting a vasectomy and all that stuff. Like, I'm not into that. But he does always have these women around, and when they live with him, they look amazing. So, but I am seeing that Natasha is still keeping up the diet, so good on her. But she's also kind of like the same ethnicity as like my family or whatever, and I find that very interesting. And she grew up, I think, doing some dancing, and her grandmother always made sure that she had lots of carbs. So she never had this like thyroid issue. So when she met Durian, it just went like boom, boom. She just went from like here to here as far as like athletic ability, and sleep quality and whatever. And of course, her channel exploded and everything else. But yeah, a lot of people do get to this roadblock, and then they panic and they reach out really, because we're so used to like this instant gratification, and just like, I pay for it, I get it, but we have to pay back the calories that we did restrict. I could have fruit after eating rice. Fruit fermented my gut. Yeah, so another thing is like, if you feel like you need something sweet after you have a starch, I'm okay with that. I know that Natasha says that it's a no-no for bloating and stuff, but it doesn't bother me. And it's very common in like Asian countries to eat fruit with rice. You know, there's lots of like rice pudding with mangoes and raisins and things like this. So I'm like saying go for it. But if you notice that you have an aversion to that, or it's not working out, then obviously change it up, right? And be more plain with your meals, and try to do maybe just fruits and juices and hydrating type things, and then save your starch for at night, and then see how that makes you feel. Taste bud change. Yes, taste buds do change. Like I used to salt my food before tasting it, you know. I can't imagine doing that now. And when I do have too much salt, I do feel it. So again, like, my mother is on like hypertension medication now, and it's like I'm not eating the same as her anymore, right? And she says I don't salt my food and all this stuff, but she won't listen to me. I can only be the example, and she can only see me and say, oh my gosh, you're crazy, you're just having potatoes and coleslaw. But it is what it is, right? So like, I do not want to walk into that kind of like health crisis. So genetically, I am like super blessed, I think, as far as like how I grew up, especially like the nature of like being athletic and like eating a lot, and there was endless, you know, Fruitopia in the fridge, and I could have as many carbs as I want, but we still were very like meat heavy protein family and stuff. So yeah, like I wish I was turned on to this a lot when I was younger, but it just, now I'm here. He had a sushi meal with salt and he feels much more happy. Yep. Yeah, Thailand is amazing. Sticky rice fruits. I'm not into coffee. So I used to have 2 or 3 Americanos a day when I was running my business. And this is also when I was like fasting very heavily. So I used to have an Americano on an empty stomach, and I would immediately start sweating from my armpits for no reason. And I started drinking coffee, I think, when I was 18. When I went to university, I just started getting double doubles but I would always have like little like sip some of like the coffee at like family functions and stuff. I always wanted to drink coffee. Like, why did I always want to drink coffee? Because I watched the stupid television and everybody was always having their coffee, and I'm the youngest, and I always wanted to grow up so fast, and I wanted to be, you know, the fear of missing out on what everyone else is doing, because, you know, Lauren, you know, you're the youngest, you're not old enough for this. But anyway, I'm not for coffee. I've been off of coffee since April of 2023. It was about 2 weeks of hell and headaches. And you will have a serious withdrawal. It's not going to be fun because it is very addictive. And people will say there's no harm in it, but it is a bit of a neurotoxin. So check that out yourself. And yes, plenty of people live into old age and they smoke their cigarettes and they drink their coffee, but what's their quality of life like? And I know that it makes me a nervous wreck. And when I was fasting and having coffee on an empty stomach, anything would set me off, and I would be able to have a coffee and a nap. So like, something was definitely off with my hormone structure at that time, but I didn't do anything about it. So I've made a video on coffee a while back. I don't even remember what I said in it, but it's probably something similar to this. So can you tell us a bit about yourself, your lifestyle, travels, goals? Are you like a digital nomad, married with kids? So, I mean, I went to university like everybody else did. I graduated with an English literature degree. I didn't do much. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't do that. I worked like 3 jobs at a time when I was young. I used to take those, what are they called? Those 4-hour energies just to get through work. I used to be like a waitress, work at a butcher shop, and then work at a gym. Yeah. Anyway, and then one day I was working at a jewelry store, and I decided that me and the jeweler, we were going to like open up our own business, because I thought he was very talented and he wasn't getting enough recognition there, and everybody thought I was crazy. I was 28 years old when I incorporated the business, and we found a brick and mortar place, and I ran the business with him for 5 years, 6 days a week, stressed out to the gills, not eating properly, not sleeping properly. I'm not married. I don't have any children. And I am, pursuing this digital nomad type thing. My goals are just to continue, like, my goals are just right in front of me. I just want to continue to pursue this lifestyle, and I just want to be able to get out on the beach and have fun. I want to be able to go do some Brazilian jiu-jitsu sometimes. I just want to be healthy. Before, I was chasing like money and status, and like approval from people who didn't give a shit about me. And so like, I left like a whole life behind, really. And yeah, it's interesting. You'll find out like who really cares, or whatnot, and like how many people really don't want you to leave their comfortable life and their comfort zone. Like I have a like nobody really knows in my family that I'm like doing this channel. I don't want to really share it with anybody. I just want to keep it with like myself and with you guys, I guess. You know, it's like I don't know how many people are watching all over the world, but it's something that I'm pursuing. So yeah, that's that. You and Carb King are awesome. Thank you. I've made banana rice instead of mango rice. I don't have any mango. Oh, cold brew coffee made you throw up. Yeah, so like it's not necessary to have energy and feel good. I used to have coffee to think that that was getting me through the day, but like yeah, you'll get headaches once you quit coffee. I've never had problems going off coffee. Then that's awesome. Like that's great. You must have some magical thing going on that I didn't. Ate some raw honeycomb. Cool. I'm not losing weight. Every day I eat a lot of fruit, sugar, no changes, even with simple rice. Decided to add tofu and beans. What's your idea? That's adding more protein, which is more of like an anabolic type eating. I think for weight loss, you can skip the tofu and the beans, but if you crave these things, just put them as like a 25% and then make the rice the 75% of your plate. And I would encourage you to be patient and prioritize your sleep, drink water before your meals, and really prioritize the sleep, guys. If you really think that your hormones are messed up and you have screwed up with the diets before and everything else, you really have to dial in your sleep and the circadian natural rhythm of life. I never drank much coffee, but I got a ton of caffeine from cola. So I think there's these energy drinks that I just stumbled upon in the States. I saw some videos and they had like 200 milligrams of caffeine in one can. And there are like countless accounts of women just having huge problems being hospitalized by having these energy drinks. And though they also had like artificial sweeteners in them. So it's like people say sugar's a problem. No. No, it's not. It is the caffeine, it is the artificial sweeteners, it is like the citric acid, it is all these things combined, and like energy drinks like is a big no-no for me. The only time I ever had Red Bull was having a Jager bomb or whatever when I was younger, which is just horrible now when I think about it. But yeah, you immediately feel stressed and anxious. It's really eye-opening. Yeah, I have a Coca-Cola, which is like 30 or 40 milligrams of caffeine. I had one like a week ago, and then before that I can't really recall, and it was like in the morning before a soccer game. So it's like, and I only had half the can because Carb King had the other half of the can. How much exercise are you doing? Oh my God. Chloe.
Sorry guys, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was watching from the other room about the autoimmune issues.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm not a doctor. I'm sorry.
Please continue.
I'm not a doctor, but autoimmune seems to be when your own body attacks its own cells. And I don't think having animal protein like meat, actually a corpse or a putrefying corpse, putting that into your body and mixing it with sugar and all this other stuff, that's not a good idea. I think that's why people have autoimmune issues, is because you're putting foreign protein into your body and the body wants to get rid of that. It's not meant to be there. Yeah. The only thing that's supposed to go into your body is fruits, vegetables, and starches. Period. Sorry about that. Keep the live going. This is great stuff. Thank you.
I wasn't expecting that at all either, guys. So stop. Okay. All right. So it was just a little guest appearance for the live. Yeah, the OG. Yeah, the memes, like, it kind of reminds me of when we were on Instagram and we used to go back and forth, and it's like the memes, they really do communicate in a way, because like I can talk and talk and talk, and you think you understand the language that I'm saying because there's a definition of every word that I'm explaining to you, but it really is the signs and the symbols that rule the world, and it's the subconscious that ends up coming out. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, the memes like have their own symbolism and meaning in our own conscious and subconscious. Yeah, there's like a whole like alchemical thing that we can talk about, and I do want to have a like collab with me and Carb King together on a video. So if you guys want that, thumbs up and let us know. The way he came in. Yeah, Triple H. Yeah, I loved Triple H back in the day. Yeah, those were the days, guys, right? Like, oh my gosh. Remember when everybody used to do suck it at school and we'd all get in trouble? My thoughts on endometriosis. Blah, blah. Can't even say the word. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it, to be honest. I don't think about it. I don't even really know what it is right now off the top of my head. So please enlighten me on what kind of issue that is. I'm gonna guess it has to do with. You guys are cracking me up. It's gonna have to do with hormones. This this live became really unserious. I'm so sorry. I can't stop laughing. Okay. Yeah, I might just cut it. I'm so sorry, guys. I can't stop laughing. Endometriosis. Yeah, like, let me just quickly see what I can come up with. Endometriosis. Pelvic pain, menstrual periods. Okay. Can you live a normal life with endometriosis? Usually stop after menopause. Painful periods, pain with sex, pain with bowel movements or urination, excessive bleeding and infertility, other symptoms. 4 stages. Deep aching, stabbing, and throbbing. It sounds really bad. I will tell you that like my period has completely changed being on this diet. And I think a lot of women suffer with really heavy periods because of the diet. So the diet has made my menstrual cycle 28 days, like on the dot, and I now track my 4 phases, meaning like the follicular phase, then I'm ovulating, then I'm in my luteal phase, and then I'm menstruating. And I know how to treat myself in the sense of like I need more carbs in the luteal phase. Like I'm more hungry. Like I'll get hungrier probably an hour or 2 after a meal, or if I'm in the follicular or whatever, sometimes it's like 3-4 hours after the meal. I don't make any big decisions when I'm on the luteal phase because I know I'm a little bit cuckoo and the hormones, the progesterone is going down. But as far as like pain has subsided a lot. I used to take like Advil or Midol or this kind of like pain when I was on my period before. I don't do any of that now. I haven't taken a pill in years. And my period used to be like 7 days, and I used to be like lying down on the couch, useless for at least a day. I used to leave work sometimes because I couldn't handle it. And I wasn't alone. Like I'm not the only woman that felt like that, right? So, and my period just got worse as I got older and heavier. And then now it's perfect. It's about 4 days. And of course, like I still feel like on the second day, like, it's not the best, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. So I didn't have any of these kind of symptoms, but it seems like you might be like, when I had severe back pain, it's because I was severely like backed up in my colon. So I do encourage people to hydrate more, have more juices, have more fiber, to encourage you to have better bowel movements. And if you're having a hard time, legit get on the toilet and squat. Like this sitting all the time is really bad for us. People make fun of me because I sit on the ground all the time, and that like maybe one day I'll be able to afford a chair. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, we should be able to squat with our heels down. Like, babies can do this all the time, right? They don't have this problem. So I still can't get my heel down. I'm still working on it. And I want to squat like this without doing this, without having my feet point out. I should be able to have my feet straight. So, and nice and close together. We will do a collab in the future. Ray Pete. Yes, I've like touched on this a little bit in my last video. Listen, I think that he got somewhere in the sense of like metabolic health, and he helped a lot of people with their metabolism and healing it, and like not being afraid of carbohydrates. But I know that when you mix animal products with sugar, and these are high fat, high protein products, you're just going to contribute to more viscous blood, insulin resistance, and basically it's going to be harder on your kidneys to excrete these things. And I do not recommend it. Like, I have grandmothers or great grandmothers that lived till almost 100, and they had no metabolic health, nothing. And Ray Pete died when he was 86. No hate to the guy, but too much fat. And the animal protein, I don't think it served him in the end. Thanks for quickly looking into endometriosis and sharing your experience. I also think diet, like, you are what you eat. You know, I was also like saying this to Carb King the other day, like when we were when I was in elementary school, we did speeches in grade 4 or something, and I did my speech on chess. I don't remember anything I did on the speech, but there was a girl that said that her speech, the title was "You Are What You Eat," and so that has stuck with me for 20 years. That you are what you eat. So it's like the intention that you have when you eat, the pace of when you eat, if you are grateful for the food when you eat. I think all of that has a real effect. It might sound woo-woo and all this stuff, but to me, it has a huge effect. And not consuming and harming animals, for me to go through gluconeogenesis and all this crap to get proper blah blah protein and all this stuff, like, there's amino acids in the fruit, guys. So we do not need this protein. And I think people go way too extreme with the animal products, and I was one of them at one point, So the diet has everything to do with how you function, how you sleep, how you perform, how you feel, how you handle stress. And I think it can be stressful to be a woman, to have these long hormonal stretches where a man starts his hormonal cycle every single day and a woman takes 28 days. It takes so long, right? So there's a lot of factors at play, of course, but I do think that changing the diet will have an incredible effect on how your cycle works, because it's had an incredible effect on me, and I never lost my period, which I think is super unhealthy. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. The squatting position is great. Yeah, use a step stool. Yeah, the squatty potty thing, get some books, just alleviate your feet, because that's, I mean, if there were no toilets, like, how would you drop a deuce in nature, right? You would squat. Can you talk about how you eat throughout your cycle? Yeah, so I'll just quickly reiterate, like, I think I'm more like fruity and juicy in the follicular and ovulation phase. And then when I get to my luteal phase, especially the week before my period, I eat whenever I want, however much I want. And I know, like, the cravings can be increased, and I have these thoughts about having more fattier foods. But I have now been able to restrain from that a lot better than I used to. And of course, like, I'm not gonna say you're a bad person if you have some olives or whatever, but you don't really need them. You just need more carbohydrates. And so if I eat and then an hour later I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat again. And I should really make a video about this. I've been meaning to for some time. So it seems like more people want to hear about it, but okay, I'm 80 minutes in, guys. I think I'm gonna call it. Thank you so much for being here, and I will definitely be. I think this is a good time for lives. It seems like I had some 40 people watching at some point, so that's great. Yeah. All right, everybody have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.